All right, so this is the low poly design that we are working on right now in Illustrator. All right, so these are examples. These are not mine. Let's turn that volume down a little bit. These are not mine, but this is an example of what some finished products might look like. Okay, now one of the things you'll notice is the smaller. This is just like a resolution on a pixel or something like that. The smaller the polygons that you make, the more kind of detail and more kind of effects that you're going to get out of it. And if you did something that was less polygons, right, which is not necessarily wrong, but you've got less detail, it's going to be harder to see. You know, there's somewhere kind of in the middle here, right? So it depends on your subject matter, depends on what you're working with. I'm going to let you pick your own subject matter, but you want to try to do something that has that variety of colors so that as you do these, you'll be able to see the difference from polygon to polygon, okay? So when you go back over here, the one that I am choosing, if you're not from this area and you don't know who this person is, this is a local weatherman who is known for the phrase of respect the polygon. And so I'm trying to make a low poly design version of him as I'm working on this right now. His name's James Spann. A little bit of a you love him or you hate him, but he's a local legend around here. So anyway, one thing I want to show you though is we're going to talk about with the pen tool as you're drawing these triangles or these polygons out. All right, so you can just click and draw shapes like that and go back and click on that starting point and close off that shape, right? That's a way that you can do this. If you want to, I'm gonna change this so that my inside color is none and my outside color is black, just so I can see it a little bit better. Go to my pen tool and I'm gonna draw out another shape. All right, and so now I'm done with that and I wanna add on to this. So I'm gonna go back up here and click on that anchor point. Well, if I just click on it, it's gonna disappear. So Control Z, I don't want to do that. I'm going to hold down Shift as I click, and that will just add on to the anchor. Now, I'll let go of Shift because otherwise it's going to be the static design like that, right? So I can do like that, and then I can keep going off to the side from here. Hold down Shift so that I don't erase that. Hold down Shift. So if it pops up with that little minus symbol, all right, and you get that right like that, then hold down Shift and it won't do that, all right? So we'll go back, click on the pen tool to start a new line, right? So the other thing that I wanted to show you, so in addition to just a quick way to draw out the shapes, what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw out our shapes, and then I want you to go and use the Shape Builder tool right here, and just click to make the shapes. All right, now the original version that we had on this, somebody was doing this and they did it using the video that I showed you guys earlier. They were making the designs like that, and then they used the paint bucket tool. The paint bucket tool is similar to the shape builder tool, but we're going to be using this. I would recommend using the shape builder tool, my personal preference, okay? And let me show you what you would use the paint bucket tool for real quick. So this is paint bucket tool. The nice thing about paint bucket tool, I've already applied the paint bucket tool to this. You find that by clicking and holding the live paint bucket, whatever. All right. So the benefit of this is as I move stuff, it's live. So if I double click to go into the group and I move this around, as I am moving it, it keeps that relationship. So it changes the size, changes what this shape looks like as I'm moving that around, okay? And I can get these different interactions and then double click over to the side to come out of it, okay? As opposed to the shape builder tool, if I select all of this and use the shape builder tool, that is a shape, this is a shape, and once I click on those things, I can go in and I can change the color of them, just like that, no problem, all right? But I'm going to now, if I move this, that's just a shape. It doesn't remember the interaction between these pieces, okay? So you can see, I'm kind of getting a little messy here, okay? So there's a difference between the shape builder tool and the live paint tool, all right? For the purposes of this assignment, I would recommend using the shape builder tool because you're just going to keep it in that one spot. All right, so for our buddy James over here, so I'm going to zoom in, and if you don't know how to hold down Alt and scroll to zoom in and out, all right, and then also how to hold down spacebar to be able to move your design around. You're going to need that to be able to do this assignment at all effectively. All right, so pen tool, click, click, click. Go down here. Let me go start item to Shift and click and click. And that's all I want there. So I'm going to hit the pen tool to start over. Zooming in. I'm going to hold down Shift and click here, and I'm going up. Hold down Shift. All right. And so I'm going to go around and create those designs like that. All right. Go back to my pen tool, hold down Shift, anchor onto that. Okay. And so something like that. All right. And I hope I got all my lines crossing. I also did, I selected this picture and I've already locked it in place too. Okay. So once you draw out all of your shapes, then you're going to go back, select all of this, and use the Shape Builder tool. And you're going to go back and click through here. And I'm going to click, and I'm making all of those be a shape. Now that I've made those be a shape, I can click on my shape and use my Eyedropper tool and pick up a color from that. Whatever pixel I click on is going to be the color that it adds. And that's pretty similar to the other one, maybe something like that. I can choose different ones. All right, and when you're doing this process right here, this can be kind of time consuming. What I recommend is remember the shortcuts. All right, so the shortcut for this right here is if I hover over this, that's V to go to my selection tool. So I can click on this, and then the Eyedropper tool is the letter I. So if I've used V to select, and then I to click, V to select, I to click. That's going to be a much faster way of doing something like this, all right? And so now I'll be able to take, I've got all of these pixels here that I'm making this low poly. And these colors, I probably would go back and modify these a little bit. I might make these just a little bit darker in times to get a little bit more variety as I go around, okay? So you can go back and modify stuff as you want, but that is a little bit, you're gonna end up being able to use the Eyedropper tool if you use the Shape Builder tool, all right? And because we're not gonna wanna go back after the fact and modify, I mean, I can still modify. Like if I say, oh, I want this to be not that big, I can use this the white arrow direct select tool. I can still modify what the shape looks like, but I'm not modifying how the shapes interact with each other. So that's where you would use the Live Paint tool, all right? So use the pen tool, draw out the design, use the Shape Builder tool, create shapes, and then use the Eyedropper tool to pick up a picture, and then that's it, okay? So, and I'll try to post a link to what my finished product of this design looks like. All right, as you run into problems, we'll try to figure out if there's a better way of doing something. There's a lot of different ways to do this assignment, and so if you find a better way that works for you, that's fine. This is just how I would approach this assignment, okay? So quick way to draw out your lines using the pen tool, and then quick way to, because you're gonna have a whole bunch of different colors that you have to select, so that's gonna be a better way of doing that.